This is a £48,000 professionally converted and manufactured camper van, and this is my £12,000 self-converted builder's van. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the differences between them to see how they compare. 2 years ago, I bought this 2014 Fiat Ducato van from eBay for just £6,000.
I'm a white van man now, baby!
I then spent the next year and a half trying to convert it into a camper van, and with the help of some good friends and a lot of failures later,
A bird's just shat on my cladding. I've just painted. What the f? I am losing the will, literally, with this van build.
I finally finished the van and have spent many months travelling around. Today, I'm back up in Nottingham to come and check out this £48,000 Weinsberg camper van to see what a factory-made camper is actually like, and to see if the extra £36,000 is actually worth it. To start off the comparisons between these two campers, we're going to kick things off by talking about length. So one of the biggest differences between this and my own is actually that this van is 60 centimetres longer than mine. And that may not sound like a huge difference, but honestly, in a tiny little home on wheels, every inch and a millimetre really makes a big difference. So Mary, my own van, she is the shorter of the two vehicles at 5.4 metres long. The Fire Edition is 6 metres long, which gives you an additional 2 foot of space inside. The width and height of both vehicles is exactly the same at 2 metres wide and 2.5 metres tall. Another big difference between the two vehicles is actually that the sliding doors are on completely opposite sides of the vehicle. On Mary, the sliding door is on the passenger side, which means you've got to walk around the entire front of the vehicle to access the back area. But on the Fire, the sliding door is actually on the same side as the driver, which makes things a lot more convenient. So I'm actually going to give this one a point to the Fire. So with these professionally converted and manufactured vehicles, they're all pretty standardized, especially on the outside. You've got your cassette toilet, which is used to pull out your toilet and give that a nice little clean. You've got an electric hookup point, of course, to plug into a campsite, and you've got an LPG refillable point. The Fire does have an awning and my van doesn't. However, I've personally never felt the need to actually have one. Cheers! In the manufactured vehicle, of course, you've got this very swanky step to help you get in and out of the vehicle. If you're a moron like me and you forget to put it away before you drive, it will actually automatically put itself back into place. So we are now in the Fire camper van itself, which I've got to say is impressive what they've squeezed in here in such a small sized vehicle. However, because they've crammed so much in here, it's extremely cramped and there's not a lot of space to actually move around. Considering my own van is 60 centimetres shorter, which means less space inside, it feels a lot more spacious. However, this does of course have a few more facilities inside. In the front area of this vehicle, we of course have 2 swivel chairs, which are never easy to swivel into position. It makes a hell of a difference having both the passenger and the driver's seat on a swivel, because more social space for people to come and join you in the vehicle, more friends can come over, depending on who you want. My van, sadly, I could only put the passenger seat on a swivel because I didn't have the space or availability to actually put the driver's seat. So for this one, the Fire gets another point. One big plus with the professionally converted Fire Edition camper van is that you can actually sit 4 people inside this vehicle legally, which means you've got 2 seat belts, obviously in the front, the driver's in the passenger seat, but also 2 legal seats here to have some passengers that you can actually bring on a road trip with you. One thing I've got to say that I really do not like about this vehicle is this arrangement here. There is not a huge amount of space to do a lot of things here, to be honest with you. The table is absolutely tiny. It's not comfortable at all. You're sitting upright like a plank of wood. I'm a big bloke, 6'2", not a huge amount of space to maneuver around. You can, of course, extend this, and we've got a very small kind of fake marble looking dinner table, which if I pull round here, as the driver, I could now eat my dinner, although there's no way I could move, because if I had a massive belly on me, which might be another 30 years, this is going to be a bit of a tight squeeze to get in and out of. The whole dining area, and actually, as you can imagine, sitting here with 4 people, 2 here, 2 there, it's not going to be the most spacious, pleasant experience. So for the dining area setup and comparison, I'm actually going to give a point to Mary, because I just think my van's a little bit more spacious, even though it also kind of isn't, because on one of the benches you literally have to have the body of a child to squeeze in there. So the inside of this vehicle reminds me very much of the world's most boring motorhome, which is a video I did a couple of videos ago, because with any commercial vehicle like this that you can literally buy off the shelf, they all look pretty damn identical inside. This one is literally just some white and some brown and some pretty plain neutral colours, which isn't a bad thing, because a vehicle like this, you don't have to spend almost a year to a year and a half converting it yourself. You can of course go to a dealership and literally buy this pre-made, pre-done, pick it up and off you go on your travels. So with the kitchen in this vehicle, it's not huge, it's about 1.5 meters long, but what I do like is the sliding door is actually on the kitchen side, which means you can hand out your fajitas, you can hand out your ice creams, you can hand out your chicken burgers. And of course it helps with ventilation and all sorts of things. And if you're parked up in a beautiful location, crack the door open and cook with a view. So with the actual kitchen appliances in here, there's not a lot going on. A very basic 2-hob gas burner and a sink and a tap. Pretty standard in most of these vehicles, a 12-volt fridge underneath. And compared to my own van, I'm super surprised by this, because the vehicle cost 48 grand and there's a what, a 36,000 pound price difference. Is that the difference? Yeah. 48,000 pound minus 12,000. Yeah. You've got no oven, you've got a smaller sink, you've got less storage space. So I'm giving my van a plus for that. One massive pro and benefit to this van compared to Mary is what's inside here, which is a toilet and a shower. So instead of me having to pull out a portable toilet underneath the storage unit and then shit in a bag, I can actually shit in a nice luxury toilet.
Oh, what's that smell?
It smells quite fresh, I think. I've not used it yet. Have you? There is a waft of something in here.
Fucking hell.
Chemicals. So in here, it's certainly very cramped and very small. Just about enough headroom, probably literally 1.5 centimeters above me. You've got your toilet, you've got your shower, which actually isn't a proper shower. It just connects to the tap. You pull it up like so. You then attach it to the top here. You'd then pull your shower curtain round, and then you'd do a rubber dub-dub. Thanks for the grub, get nice and clean, come out, happy days. Like I say, I want to reiterate the point that this van isn't massive. Compared to a motorhome, which feels a lot more spacious, they've crammed a lot in this. Shower, toilet, and everything else that you've seen. So where's that bloody come from? Oh, I've turned the tap on, that's why. Oh. The biggest similarity, thank God, between the two vans is this. Both of them have fixed beds, which personally I far prefer compared to the non-fixed beds, which I've experienced many times in some of the recent videos, because there's no faff, there's no setup to actually getting yourself into bed and getting a good night's sleep. This one is quite clearly lacking a few vibes, lacking a bit of personality, personal touches, and just some overall character. I've of course decorated my van, and that's not to say you can't do it with this van, but the overall bed area, I think my one is a lot more desirable. One thing, surprisingly, that my van definitely beats this van on is there is no entertainment system in here whatsoever. No TV, no projector. So Mary's going to get a massive big point for that, because I've spent many a night in that van, camped out in the middle of the forest, cooked up some good food, watched the football, or even set the projector up and chilled out and watched a movie. Of course, I want to say a big thank you to the guys at Oak Tree Motorhomes for letting me come and borrow this £48,000 camper van to do this comparison video. If you're on the hunt yourself for a motorhome, for a camper van, for a Roma home, something a little bit different, but also something very standard like this, make sure you go and check them out. I'll leave a link in the description. They've done a bunch of work on my van in the past, and they've actually been voted one of the most trusted UK dealerships in the entire country. As you've seen throughout this entire video so far, these vehicles are very different but also very similar, and it completely depends on your personal taste and of course your finances. The fact that my van took me over 1.5 years to actually build took a lot of effort faffing around, whereas this vehicle, you can buy it straight off the shelf if you've got a bit of wedge in the bank and come and buy it. So for me, I think I'm always going to prefer the self-builds, the one that you can add your own personal touch to and you kind of build a bond with, but that's not to say that a vehicle like this isn't good. I'm now actually going to take out this Weinsberg camper van to see what it's actually like to use, to drive, to live in. So tonight we're going to camp in it, we're going to cook in it, and then of course we're going to sleep in it to see what it's really like as a comparison to my own self-build. So driving wise, there's obviously no difference at all between the two vehicles, apart from this model here is from 2018 and my own van is 2014. So the steering wheel feels a little bit lighter, it kind of feels a little bit more sensitive on the clutch and the brakes, but driving wise they couldn't be any closer together. I'll be honest, the size difference between the two vehicles is only a couple of feet, 60 centimeters. It's not something that I'm noticing at all is a problem, even though this van is a little bit longer. It's getting a few eyes, this camper van. I'm not sure why, because it's nothing particularly fancy. Into the supermarket we go to try and find a spot to park this up. That is not the supermarket, oh dear. That's the petrol station. Right, have we got a reverse camera on this? I assume so. We have. No, we haven't. I don't really know. I don't think we do anyway. Shit, I can't see out the back. Oh, I have no idea how far I can go back. How far can I go back? There's no reverse camera. Yeah? So we are now in the Weinsberg, ready to get the full-on commercial manufactured experience for the night. Never actually camped or stayed in a vehicle like this. The heater is on, so excuse that noise in the background. I'm actually going to give Mary another point because what I've realised is my van's heater is far better. So tonight, on the menu, we have got ourselves pulled chicken and black bean chili, something I've never cooked before. Ben found the recipe online, but we thought, why not? We'll give it a go. So we're kind of getting there. The main ingredient now, a tablespoon or a teaspoon of chipotle paste, which I've got a fork. I'm just going to guesstimate as I always do. Would you guesstimate that's about a tablespoonish? I'm going to crack open the cherry beer from Andy. We've got a lighter. Ben loves this little trick because somehow he's never seen it before. Cheers, big ears. Cherry Porter Grand Reserve Amaretto infused beer. I love amaretto. I kind of like beer. 6.5%, my God. 750ml bottle. Not sure I can taste the cherry. Can you taste the plum in yours?
I can taste something. I don't know if it's plum.
Is this in date? While we wait for that to simmer, I'll get this down and hopefully not be too pissed after an empty stomach on 6.5% of beer. Bon appetito, everybody. What did we just cook? Chicken pulled bean stew thing.
Pulled bean.
I said pulled bean. The chicken has been simmering for about 40 to 50 minutes. Surprisingly, we did actually do it that long. So the taste test. It looks nice and succulent and juicy and absolutely roasting hot. So bear with me a second. That is absolutely roasting. My God. It's hard to tell you what it tastes like, but I'll save that for the morning. Well, good morning to what looks like another absolutely freezing cold day here in Nottingham. Frost outside, but a beautiful morning nonetheless. It's about 7:30 now. I've had the heater on. It's been great, I've got to say. I've stayed nice and warm inside here. Dinner was actually bloody delicious, I've got to say. Tasted so nice, lots of flavours, super easy to make considering it was just a few ingredients. Chuck it in a pan, put the chicken in the pan and let it simmer for 40-50 minutes. Definitely a recipe that you guys need to try out. Going to enjoy 10 minutes of lying in here with the heater on and looking out the back windows, which was actually quite nice because this is something that I don't have on my own van, is some sort of windows to look out of in the mornings, which is quite a nice little feature, even though it's not the best view that I've ever had. Let me know down in the comments which vehicle you would prefer if money and time wasn't an option. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in next week's video.